So new allegations. So there was allegations of bullying in the Green Party, I think last week, that said that MPs calling each other crybabies, etc. Well, there's new allegations that have come out, and it does not sound good. These are all allegations, innocent to proven guilty, yada, 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 yada. But let's have a listen to the story, and then we'll go into some more details thanks to RNZ.
Allegations of bullying have emerged about Green MP Elizabeth Kerekere, who's being investigated by her party for calling her colleague Chloe Swarbrick a crybaby.
Political reporter Amelia.
Now, to be honest, Chewy, no big deal. It's like, if I called you a dick. I've never done that, by the way, Chewy. I wouldn't be that disrespectful. But, crybaby is not the biggest thing in the world. But the thing is, the new allegations seem far more serious than that, and there are many people now speaking out.
Amelia Wade joins us now. Amelia, what's Kerekere been accused of?
Accidentally dragging Chloe Swarbrick by popping into the wrong group chat that Swarbrick was a crybaby as Swarbrick gave an impassioned speech about alcohol reform here in the House 2 weeks ago. It turns out it was not the first time Elizabeth Kerekere has been mean. RNZ's reporting today 5 different sources are accusing Kerekere of bullying, bad-mouthing and undermining her caucus colleagues.
Can I say this as well, Chewy? Being mean on most levels, I don't really care about. Like, I don't want people to be mean, but being mean is very different from undermining and bullying. You know what I mean? There's a difference to it. Yeah, calling someone a crybaby is being mean, but undermining and bullying is something very different altogether. That's how it feels to me. We are going to get to some more details, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm always interested in the terminology when something comes up like this. Like, would it be described in the same way if we're talking about 2 men in Parliament having a go at each other? It's a side issue, but an interesting one nonetheless.
Or if that was thrown across the debating chamber, if you call someone a crybaby from the other side across the debating chamber, probably not such a big deal. However, as is with much, and maybe we've just talked about this with Steve and Jack, what you see on the surface of an iceberg, there is like 85% more to come underneath. And it appears that crybaby comment might be indicative of some more serious things going on. Now, I'm saying may because these are allegations, but they're from 5 different sources, which they mentioned the RNZ article as I just did, but then we're going to show you the RNZ article and give you a few more details.
And staff, including one who alleges that Kerekere demonstrates, and I quote, general mean girl behaviour, and that she has a tendency to call people racist if they don't agree with her. News Hub's been told that this is not the first time that Kerekere's been cautioned about her behaviour, and that this latest incident has brought everything to a head. And it was clear from the very start that the investigation would need to include the experiences of staff, as well as that message about Chloe Swarbrick. Kerekere herself has gone to ground. She's not answering texts or calls, but the timing of this can't be ignored. The Green Party's in the process of cementing its power rankings of MPs to take to the election. And in the draft list, Kerekere has soared to number 4 beneath the co-leaders and Chloe Swarbrick. So there's hope within the Green Party that this crybaby turned bullying probe can be resolved before that list goes to the wider party members to vote on at the end of April, so they know exactly what they're voting for.
Now, the thing about this is, Chewy, is, I think that the Greens have got the most well-defined kaupapa of any kind of group, most define kind of what we're about now, ethos, what it really is. If these allegations are true, and we're going to get to some more details shortly, and Kerekere is actually a bully, I wonder what the vibe is amongst other Green Party MPs to have her at number 4 in the rankings behind the two leaders and arguably the most popular Green MP in Chloe Swarbrick. That if you're putting if the leaders know about this, and if this is a known situation, I wonder what else is going on within the Greens to have this person who was obviously seen by many as trouble, quote unquote, my words, elevated so highly up the power rankings.
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding is at the moment with the Green Party, there's a draft list out of their party rankings, and then that goes to the membership and they kind of vote on that, whether they agree with it. This is going off like a hand grenade right in the middle of this process. So on its face, this can't be good for her. Like I think we all agree that Chloe has a lot of pull within, I guess, the general public and the Green
Yeah.
Party membership especially. This has got to have an effect on that process. So I do have questions over, has someone got an axe to grind? Is there an angle that someone's playing? Not that I'm saying that this isn't true.
Are you suggesting? Let me just clear. Are you suggesting? And I know you're not making this accusation, but are you wondering when you say axe to grind, like another MP wanting to leapfrog her, or there's some kind of politics behind it? Is that what you're kind of suggesting?
I'm wondering if there's a little bit of backbiting going on, or someone wanting to throw a spanner into the Green Party, in the run up to the election. There's so many angles that it could be.
Well, we'll look at that because actually, unlike many on the right, I typically trust journalists in their reporting, especially if they're using sources, even if they are government funded. And we're going to have a look at some details first. Let me just say also what Rob's put in here. This is interesting. The evidence sounds a bit sus. It sounds a bit sus to Rob, I think, because claiming that some people call people racist all the time is a literal right-wing meme. It would be good to see the investigation happen. I know. That's one of the things I thought as well. It is actually the classic example. Well, it's, you know what it is? We've talked about this a lot. When the left give the right validity to their narrative. And that happens sometimes. And we've talked about the Posey Parker situation, and we've talked about, when Chewie and I got kicked out of the boat, and these things as well. When things happen on the left, and the right will claim that to shut down conversation, the left, quote unquote left, will just call you racist, or they'll call you a white supremacist, or they'll call you a homophobe or something like that. Now, I don't question some people on the left do that. And if this is what has happened in this isolated incident, I don't think the left does that, but the left is made up of individuals, and I would guarantee you that some people on the left do that, just like some people on the right are white supremacists. But if that is what is actually happening, it is it's like when you walk out of an argument, Chewie, it is actually not a passive movement, it's incredibly aggressive, because you're taking the argument and you're walking out. That kind of narrative, or that kind of thing, if it is happening, is an unbelievably aggressive power move, because you're shutting down the conversation. Now, I'm saying if, because I agree with Rob, good to see the investigation. But let's go to what RNZ has reported, because who did we just watch? Was it News Hub or TVNZ? Might have been News Hub. News Hub is reporting in far more detail. Green MP sources accuse MP Elizabeth Kerekere of bullying. A few things I'm going to read you here. Pardon me for my dyslexia if I start mixing up words and stuff, but we'll go. 5 individuals close to the Greens, including current and former staffers, have spoken to RNZ. They're pretty good sources. Yeah. Right, so to start with, they're pretty good sources. Have spoken to RNZ under the condition of anonymity after Kerekere accidentally sent messages to a group chat which were unsupportive of Auckland Central MP Chloe Swarbrick. The Greens launched an internal review into Kerekere's conduct after the messages were leaked to RNZ showing her complaining about Swarbrick's good fortune, to have her legislation be debated. That sounds like jealousy to me. To have her legislation be debated at the time MPs were being ranked on the party's list. Kerekere also wrote, OMG, what a crybaby, but later denied the jibe, referred to Swarbrick. Those spoken to by RNZ said the messages were characteristic of the Tairāwhiti-based MP's behaviour since her arrival in Parliament in 2020. Now, before we get into the accusations, remember, this is 5 people involved with the Greens, including current and former staffers. So this isn't randos. This is people who know the inner workings. Doesn't mean it's true, but they're credible sources. Many were unhappy with Kerekere putting her own interests ahead of the party and wanted the inquiry widened to cover her broader behaviour and for it to report back to the party list, and for it to report back before the party list was finalised. Approached for comment, a Green Party spokesman said the new revelations would be taken extremely seriously and the review would include a thorough analysis of all relevant information. Kerekere declined to be interviewed by RNZ. Now, I've got more, but first of all, Chewie, I think it's appropriate to also say, if these are credible sources, you also have often former workers who have an axe to grind. Now, I would be surprised, and I don't know, but if you had 5 people with an axe to grind, especially if some of them were current staffers. But to be fair, they could all be people who have lost work, lost jobs, been dismissed, who have an axe to grind. So that's why this is not proven yet. The investigation will happen, but, if it was a court of law and there was 5 witnesses who had worked in and for the, you know, the circumstance, that they'd be taken as a pretty serious accusation, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean that's quite a few people to step forward like quite quickly, and I mean for the journalist running with that story, yeah, it bears repeating is that they're not just going to take someone's anonymous email; they're going to try and run that down and verify that what they're going to say is rock solid. And I would say if you're working for the Green Party, this might be reaching a little bit, but if you're working for the Green Party, you'd be pretty much a true believer, right?
For sure.
So yeah,
you're not going to want to bring the party down, is what you're saying.
No. But you may want to take someone down that is ultimately going to be bad for the party.
Maybe. Let's keep going. So this is talking to the sources. One source told RNZ Kerekere had exhibited, quote, bullying, end quote, and, quote, general mean girl behaviour, end quote, throughout this term. Elizabeth has a tendency to call people racist if they disagree with her, the source said. People walk on eggshells around her. The source said people had not spoken out before now because they were concerned about the reaction from Kerekere and her supporters within the wider party. They don't want to bear the brunt of her wrath. I absolutely cannot stand bullying and bad behaviour. It needs to be dealt with. The source said Kerekere had poor relationships with multiple staff and MPs, but that she had particular enmity? Is that the word? Enmity. I don't know what that word is. What's that word? E-M-E-N-M-I-T-Y.
Dislike.
Enmity. Enmity. Sorry. I'm not as smart as you think I am, Joey. Enmity for Swarbrick. She would often make offhand comments in front of others that Chloe was entitled and a drama queen, the source told RNZ. Swarbrick declined RNZ's request for comment. One member described Kerekere as, quote, not a team player, end quote, and said it would openly shoot down or dismiss Swarbrick's contributions during caucus meetings. She has been awful to Chloe. She makes people feel like shit. That member said Kerekere's behaviour was distressing for staff, while another source said parliamentary staffers would actively avoid her at work. Yet another individual told RNZ that Kerekere's bad behaviour was extensive and ongoing. The co-leaders need to loop the staff into the investigations and make sure they have a chance to give feedback before the party's list ranking closes. The members need to know if there's an MP who is not working to the Greens co-popper. Prior to this month's leaked messages, Kerekere was most well known for breaking COVID-19 isolation rules in early 2022 by flying from Gisborne to Wellington while one of her household members had tested positive. Kerekere stepped down from her portfolio, but was reportedly this is the bit about maybe the accusation kind of about what she may do if she's unhappy. Kerekere stepped down from her COVID-19 portfolio, but was reportedly unhappy with how the matter was handled. At the time, Stuff reported that Kerekere had strongly complained internally about a statement issued by the Greens and threatened to go to the media with her side of the story.
Yikes.
One last bit. This is actually about the finalising the comment about talking about OMG, what a crybaby. The messages were inadvertently sent to a group chat of Green MPs and staff. Now, this is one of the points I wanted to highlight about minimising your actions. Kerekere later apologised to members of the group by saying, I wrote an inappropriate message on here which was not meant for this thread. So she apologised for putting the inappropriate message in the thread, not apologising for the inappropriate message, full stop. I'll say it again. I wrote an inappropriate message on here which was not meant for this thread. That's the apology.
This is meant for the other group chat where we bag on Chloe, and it's just my super secret allies group chat. Sorry, my bad. Please ignore.
Yeah, that's like, I'm sorry you felt bad about what I said. Contacted by RNZ the following day, Kerekere denied calling Swarbrick a crybaby, but gave no other explanation for her remarks. That's a pretty, whilst everything's an accusation and allegedly, that's still a pretty damning set of sources providing quote-unquote evidence as to bullying going on by one MP.
That's got to hurt her ranking. It really does. Like, however this investigation comes out.